First up, the Leo Sun aspects. This week, the Sun in Leo is incredibly active. It's opposing Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, trining Neptune retrograde in Aries, sextiling Uranus in Gemini, and ending the week with a conjunction to Jupiter in Leo. This is a week of stepping into your confidence and allowing yourself to be seen. Pluto asks us to examine where we've been giving our power away to the opinions or expectations of other people. Neptune reminds us to stay connected to the vision that's calling us forward, even if we can't see every step just yet. Uranus rewards authenticity over conformity, encouraging us to take risks that feel true to who we are. Then, as the Sun joins Jupiter, opportunities for growth, recognition, and abundance become much easier to spot. The question this week is, are you living for your own purpose, or are you still trying to meet someone else's expectations? Secondly, Venus in Virgo squares Mars and Uranus. Venus and Mars form a tense square this week, creating friction between our hearts and our heads. Venus in Virgo wants thoughtful effort, consistency, and meaningful actions, while Mars in Gemini wants to keep moving, exploring options, and saying whatever comes to mind. This can create misunderstandings in relationships, impatience in conversations, or feeling pulled in two completely different directions. Rather than trying to prove you're right, practice becoming curious. Ask more questions, listen more carefully. Often, the biggest breakthrough doesn't come from having the perfect argument, it comes from finally understanding one another. This is also a great week to notice whether your daily habits actually reflect what you say you value. And finally, the full moon in Aquarius. The full moon in Aquarius is the emotional culmination of the week. It's conjunct Pluto retrograde and Juno retrograde. It's opposing the Sun and Jupiter in Leo, trining Uranus in Gemini, squaring Chiron in Taurus, and sextiling Neptune retrograde in Aries. This is a full moon about transformation, authenticity, and the future that you're building. Pluto brings buried emotions and hidden power dynamics to the surface. Juno asks us to reevaluate the commitments that we've made to relationships, communities, and even to ourselves. Uranus offers revelations, while Chiron reminds us that growth often asks us to move through old wounds before we experience lasting healing. The Sabian symbol for this full moon is a child born from an eggshell. I love this symbol because it's about emergence. An eggshell protects us, but only for a season. Eventually, the very thing that once kept us safe becomes too small for the life that's trying to be born. This week, recognize where you've outgrown an identity, a relationship, or a version of yourself. Breaking the shell may feel scary, but it's also how new life begins. Now, let's check out the tarot. This week, I pulled the Hierophant, the King of Swords, and the Knight of Wands. The Hierophant reminds us to stay grounded in our values and seek wisdom over reaction. This card asks us to trust proven principles while remaining open to deeper spiritual understandings. Commit to the path rather than constantly searching for a different one. The King of Swords tells us to think clearly, communicate honestly, and make decisions based on truth rather than emotion. This week rewards discernment and integrity. And finally, the Knight of Wands says that confidence without action doesn't create change. Once you've gained clarity, trust yourself enough to move. You don't need every answer before taking the next step. So this week, let yourself be seen, communicate with intention instead of assumption, and don't be afraid to outgrow the version of yourself that no longer fits. This feels like a week of stepping into a bigger chapter and trusting that you were made for it. If you would like to see how these transits may impact you, consider booking a private appointment with me. I would absolutely love to read your charts and cards.